Hello everyone. How are you all? I Harshita welcome you all back to your English classes. So students, I hope you all are enjoying these classes and watching videos seriously. Students, in this video today we are going to start with a new chapter from your literature book, and the name of the chapter is A Song from the Suds, right? In the video, I will be explaining all the stanzas, I will be explaining the figures of speech and rhyme scheme of the poem. Apart from this, you will also get the summary of the poem in the video, right? So I request you all to watch the video till the end so as to understand all these things and complete your work properly. But before starting with the video, I want all of you to do those three important things. And what are those three things? Yes, those three things are like, share and subscribe the channel so that you can instantly get all the updates about my upcoming videos. Okay, thank you everyone. Keep watching and now let's get started. A Song from the Suds. So students, in our classes, we have already understood the poetry and today we are going to have a quick recap. First of all, let's gather some information about the author. First of all, remember the name of the author is Louisa May Alcott and she was born in November 1832. She was an American novelist, short story writer, and poet, better known as the author of the novel Little Women and its sequels Little Men and Jo's Boys. She grew up among many of the well-known intellectuals of the day, such as Ralph Waldo Emerson, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Henry David Thoreau, and Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. She began to receive critical success for her writing in 1860s. Early in her career, she sometimes used the pen name A.M. Bernard, under which she wrote novels for young adults that focused on spies and revenge. Published in 1868, Little Women was well received at the time and is still a popular children's novel today. It has been adapted to film several times. Okay, students, now we will move on and understand different stanzas of the poetry. Stanza 1. Queen of my tub, I merrily sing, while the white foam rises high, and sturdily wash and rinse and wring, and fasten the clothes to dry, then out in the free fresh air they swing, under the sunny sky. Which means, here the poet refers to herself as the queen of her tub as she goes about washing her clothes. She sings as the detergent creates a lather that keeps rising. She then washes, rinses, and wrings out the clothes before fastening them with clips as they are hung out to dry in the sun. So, here in the first stanza, the washerwoman is talking about what she does while she washes the clothes. She washes them, she scrubs them, she rubs them, and then she squeezes the water out of them and hangs them out in the sunny sky to dry. Stanza 2. I wish we could wash from our hearts and our souls the stains of the week away, and let water and air by their magic make ourselves as pure as they. Then on the earth there would be indeed a glorious washing day, which means she wishes the water and air would work their cleaning magic on our hearts and souls as well, washing away the stains of the sins committed through the week. We would then be as pure as the water and the air, and the earth would have a beautiful washing day. So, she wants everybody's heart, everybody's soul to get washed away the way the clothes are washed, so that we all are clean and pure as water and air around us. Stanza 3 says, along the path of a useful life, will heart's ease ever bloom? The busy mind has no time to think of sorrow or care or gloom, and anxious thoughts may be swept away as we busily wield a broom. Which means the poet tells us that if we are busy leading a useful life, our heart will be at ease and the mind will have no time to think of any sorrow or gloom. Just like a broom sweeps away the dirt, work can sweep away anxiety from our minds. In the third stanza, the poet focuses on the importance of being busy. She believes that if we are busy, then we are away from all the negative thoughts. Right? Stanza 4. I'm glad a task to me is given to labor at day by day, for it brings me health and strength and hope, and I cheerfully learn to say, head you may think, heart you may feel, but hand you shall work alway. I want all of you to know this, that here always has not been written with an S, because the poet has used the poetic license or poetic freedom to bring out the rhyme here. Let's understand what stanza 4 says. The poet expresses gratitude for work that keeps her busy day after day, bringing with it health, strength, and hope. She concludes by allowing her head to think and her heart to feel, but tells her hand to always work. So, here again, she appreciates the fact that she has a work to do which keeps her busy throughout the day and she is away from all the anxieties. Now, let's quickly summarize it. The theme of the poem is that we should keep ourselves so busy that we have no time to think about the sadness and dullness that may be around us. The poem emphasizes that if we keep ourselves busy, there will be no room for bad thoughts or sadness. In this poem, the poet compares herself to a queen, the tub being her kingdom, as she does her laundry. She wishes the stains of the week could be washed from our hearts and souls, leaving them as pure as water and air. She then tells us that a busy mind leaves no room for sorrow or anxiety. So she is grateful for work so that her head may think, her heart feel, and her hand work always. Now let's see some important figures of speech used in the poetry. Number 1 is alliteration. I hope you all remember alliteration is the literary device whereby words that start with the same sound are used in quick succession in a line. Let's see some examples. Free fresh air, sunny sky, wish we could wash. So, I hope you understand the use of alliteration here. Let's find out the next figure of speech, which is simile. A simile is a comparison made using the words like or as. For example, make ourselves as pure as they, our lives as pure as the water and air. Third figure of speech used is metaphor. A metaphor is a figure of speech that directly refers to one thing by mentioning another. It may provide clarity or identify hidden similarities between two ideas. For example, queen of my tub. Here the poet compares herself to a queen, the tub being her kingdom. And students, what is the rhyme scheme? The rhyme scheme of the first stanza is A, B, A, B, A, B, whereas the remaining three stanzas follow the rhyme scheme A, B, C, D, B, D. I hope you all understood the poetry and I request you all to please complete your notebooks. Thank you.